Hello and welcome to this panel on sustainability and the net zero car. My name is Amanda Stretton. Now, as the climate crisis intensifies, how are the global car industry responding to these growing pressures from consumers, investors and governments to accelerate the progress towards a carbon neutral operations and, of course, the net zero car? We're going to be taking a look at the car industry's exposure to climate-related risk, building the business and the business case for net zero, and the most exciting new technologies to reduce carbon emissions and strategies to reduce the operational carbon footprint through supply chains. Now, I'm delighted to say that in this panel, I'm joined by Melanie Schoffelbotham, who's the co-founder of ZapMap, and Ali Çalışkan, who's the CEO of Kordsa, joining us from Istanbul. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Hello. Now, Philip New, the CEO of Energy Catapult and chair of the Electric Vehicle Energy Task Force, is supposed to be joining us, and he may well come into this a little bit later on, but of course is having technology issues at the moment. So first of all, the question to both of you, but Melanie, starting with you, what pressures are you seeing from consumers that's leading the move towards this change? And what is it that leads that change? Is it supply, or do you think it's legislation driven?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think had you asked me that 5 years ago, I would have been hard pushed to answer it. But now I think that everyone can see that there has been a significant consumer shift towards thinking about electric cars. A recent study by Auto Trader showed that 70% of car buyers that were asked would consider an electric car for their next purchase, which is an incredible increase from only a couple of years ago. So I think what is pushing this shift? I think there is a big increase in awareness of green issues, climate change issues, and also the issues about all around air pollution in cities, and knowing that electric vehicles go a long way to solving these problems.
I totally agree with the Melanie explanation about the consumer behavior change recently, actually. But besides that one, maybe I may add another things that, especially from some of the European countries, also legislations. I mean, the also forcing the industry to just looking for the alternative, the technologies on the future of the car. I mean, today, yes, one of the big options is just converting the fossil fuel consuming technology to as electrical cars and then other means. But on the other hand, especially the climate change and the global warming really creating so bad impact on around the world. I mean, today the pollution is just one the output of this the global warming. But on the other hand, there are a lot of disasters that we are facing every year, which is also pushing and increasing the awareness about the consumers to looking for the different technologies. So the electrification is going to be one of the big mega trends for the near future. And I agree that especially starting from the Europe and the China is going to be leading this technology and in the car industry in the near future.
Do you think car ownership, this is sort of picking up on the point that you just made, car ownership is going to die, and is car sharing and shared mobility going to be the future?
I think that is a trend that people are shifting towards. And I don't think we've quite got the perfect model yet. And I think people are still quite wedded to their cars and being able to have a car outside their house, get into it with all their luggage. But I think the new generation will increasingly be embracing shared mobility and cars as a mobility as a service, and not wanting to tie up capital or spend money on a car themselves.
That was one of the big trends before COVID, actually. But I don't mean that after the COVID it is going to be totally disappear in the future, but there will be some delay over there. That's what my opinion. I mean, in the future, still the autonomous cars and also the sharing economy in the car industry is going to be still will continue, but with some precautions. Especially pandemic is teaching us a lot of things that how are we going to protect ourselves. So maybe certain time frame, maybe a couple of years, individualization is going to be still getting more popular in in our life. But later on, again, by taking the precautions and developing, the vaccine developments and other things, maybe again will support the change of the the behaviors of the consumers, and those trends are going to be back again in the near term, midterm, not the midterm, according to me.
I mean, when we're talking about net zero, we're not just talking about EVs, are we? Just how important are sustainable credentials for you?
Okay, Amanda, maybe I may just introduce about the Kordsa, what Kordsa is doing. Since we are in the process, the manufacturing line of the reinforcing the automotive industry, actually. Since our main business is we are producing a tire cord fabric, which is basically used in the reinforcing for the tires in the automotive and mobility, basically. So when we look at the trends today, and we are serving almost all global players around the world, and Kordsa is located in the 4 continents with the 5 countries and the 12 operations around the world, and serving all the tire industry. When we look at the trends and the technology change over there, of course, on the sustainability point, together with the electrification, there is another important trend is the weight reduction. Since as much as decreasing the weight, either in the aviation, airplanes, or on the overall mobility, the fuel consumption is going to be get less and less. So this is going to be helping and supporting the decreasing the carbon footprint. So the Kordsa is basically developing the technologies and serving the industries in this direction. Today, in the tire industry, we are basically focusing together with our customers with the open innovation understanding to develop the decreasing the rolling resistance of the tire, which is decreasing the friction between the road and the tire, the rubber. So it is going to help us the consuming less energy during the transferring from one point to the other. On the other hand, the weight reduction is also critical and getting important. And in the tire industry, again, we are developing a technology to increase the durability of the tire, so that strength of the material, the tire material. So that by that way, we are decreasing the weight of the tire. And another industry that we are in, for example, again, we are serving for the lightweighting, is the composite industry. Kordsa has a business line in the composite also that we acquired 4 companies from the United States in the last 3 years, and almost invested $300 million. And we have the very high technology over there serving for mobility, overall in starting from the aerospace and the defense and also the automotive industry. And the very good example today in airplanes, we are in the supply chain of the Boeing, and Boeing 787 and Airbus 350. Those are the airplanes constructed from the 55% of the composite materials in the world today. So by this way, both the airline, the producers decrease the weight in such a way that they are able to get additional 20% more mileage during the flight. So 20%, more than 20%, the fuel consumption reduction over there. So those are the really critical the technologies. Besides the electrification, the lightweighting is becoming another critical the technology for the future. And another things that with the electrification, again, that I can just add to that one, with the electrical cars, the motor noise is get rid of. So there is no noise, but the road noise coming from the road, friction between the road and the rubber, over there, is becoming more and more serious issue over there. So another technology that we are working heavily nowadays, together with the reducing the rolling resistance, just the spending, the investing for the decreasing the noise over there. So those are the new technologies besides the electrifications that as Kordsa also today we are in and we are serving to the industry.
Ali, you were mentioning earlier on about weight. Reducing weight obviously is a significant factor, obviously throughout a vehicle, just to help extend its range as well. But with that comes generally an increase in price, and with EVs being currently more expensive than internal combustion engine vehicles, does that present a problem?
Of course, today with today technologies for the weight reduction, I totally agree with this comment, since that is valid mainly for the premium car the segments now. Of course, for the consuming these expensive materials with the all kind of the cars, I mean, all segments, it requires the decreasing the material and the processing price for the future. That is definitely right. Still, lightweighting is expensive technology today, but in the near future, there's a big growth over there in the market. And I believe that it is going to be coming to the level that the automotive industry use levels in the maybe next 5-10 years.
Another question is, in a world dominated by EVs, it's just disappeared. Could there be a problem with the demand for lithium batteries? Or do you see perhaps an opportunity for much more recycling taking place? And it doesn't actually just have to be lithium. It could be any of the minerals involved.
Today, it is very difficult to calculate this one, I believe. I mean, we can just make as calculations, but the very usual trend in industry. I mean, if we are just thinking about the sustainability mindset and the zero waste mindset in any industry, I believe that the technologies for the reprocessing or recovering or recycling all those materials is going to be following the inventions also. So on the otherwise, while we are just eliminating the fuel usage on them and the fossil fuels usage on one hand, but on the other hand, just creating a lot of the metallic the waste on the world, and without eliminating or recycling those, it is going to be a big issue in the near future. So I believe that there will be new technologies for the reprocessing or recycling of those materials also in the near future.
And what about you as a company? Can you just outline some of the projects that you carry out in terms of a sustainable future?
Today, as I mentioned, our basic sustainability proactivities is basically related with the tire industry and the composite industry. The weight reduction is the one of the top priority. On the other hand, again, the recycling process. We are producing polymers. We are the different polymers in our operations, and we are recycling all the waste materials coming out from process operation lines. And then we are actually within the circular economy. We are reprocessing the waste coming out from our operations, and then the pelletizing those waste again, and then we are consuming those in our engineering polymer, which is there's a wide use areas. Including automotive industry, the households, and different the electronics. So we have a lot of activities going on like that. Our ratings would be related with the environmental, sustainability report that we already issued 6 reports this year. And by the EcoVadis, we are rated as gold within the 40,000 companies around the world, which is really great achievement that I can easily share this one. And when we look at the progress from the last year to this year's, almost there are basic categories. The ratings increased almost 17.9% this year. So we also already set sustainability targets for the next 5 years in line with the United Nations the basic programs, and we just selected 5 main areas over there. One of them is industry innovation part. Another one is the gender equality. The other is when I look at the quality education, and there are 5 main items that we just selected as a strategic target for us for Kordsa, and we are putting all our efforts just developing our actions and the programs in line with those expectations over there. And again, the developed technology, for example, in the tire industry that I may share with the sustainability and the environment. In tire industry is very conservative industry. When it started the modern age after 100 years ago, the same recipe is used still for the coating of the fabric before putting the fabric into the rubber. And this year, last 7 years, as Kordsa R&D Center worked on this technology development, and we had a collaboration and open innovation with the Continental, one of the big tire manufacturer, global tire player, as you may know in the industry. And last year, we launched a new technology. We call it a green technology, and name of the technology is named as the Cocoon. We eliminated out of 3 chemicals used in the DPS of the tire cord fabric, which 2 of them are the dangerous chemicals, the categories, formaldehyde and the resorcinol. Now, with this new technology that we developed, no need to use those 2 chemicals in the recipes now. And we eliminated those, and then we just introduced this technology to industry 2 years ago. And also we did another, the open innovation for the industry. We are licensing this technology to free of charge to the industry. There is only one rule that in anybody wants to interest in this technology, they are going to be signed an NDA and the agreement in the pool. And then whenever, if there is any technology that they are dealing with, developed in this era, they are going to be also disclose this technology to all the members in the pool over there. So that is going to be a kind of technology that is going to change the industry standards.
Well, that wraps up. We have now run out of time. Big thank you to my panel. But from all of us now, thank you very much.